Hi, my name is Clarissa Clò. I'm the director of the Italian program. I'm an associate professor here at San Diego State, obviously. Welcome. I know that this event is taking place during class time, right? There should be European Studies 101 folks in the house. Is that right? Yes, yes. Other Italian classes as well, my students, because I have blackmailed them. And I just want to go ahead and start the program because the film that we're screening now is about an hour long, and I want to have time for you, in fact, to have a Q&A with the director who's in the house as well. The first film that we're screening, this is an event that overall is entitled Mediterranean Passages, Filming Migration and Human Rights. The first film is called Come un uomo sulla terra, Like a Man on Earth, and is by Dagmawi Imer, who's in the corner over there, and he co-directed the film with Andrea Segre, whose film we're screening in a couple of hours, and documents the experience of Dagmawi traveling from Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, through the desert, the Saharan desert, through North Africa, and trying to get into Europe. The film speaks for itself, so I'm not going to say more than this. I just want to introduce Dagmawi. Would you like to join me here? He is an independent filmmaker and an activist. He is Ethiopian-born, but lives in Italy, where he sort of works as a director, but also as an activist. And most of his work and most of his interests are about giving visibility and giving a voice and giving a subjectivity to the migrants, who are usually, migration is usually talked about by experts, and it's about numbers and people. It's not about faces and voices and experiences most of the time, and so that's his challenge. Doug, would you like to introduce or say something?
I prefer to make the debates after the film.
Okay. Perfect. So we're going to go ahead and screen this film, and then we are going to talk about it. I forgot to thank everybody. You for being here, the Department of European Studies, the student organizations that have helped me put this together, and the College of Arts and Letters. And here we go. You may need to go to other classes, so feel free, but please, those who want to stay, we'll keep on going, and then at 2 we'll screen the next film. So, yeah, which is absolutely related, because it's an updated account of what's happening. So we'll just allow those who need to leave. Hopefully not everybody will leave. The die-hard will stay.
Thank you. Thank you.
I guess we're waiting for people to... We have your question, we know your question. They will also stay here later if you guys want to approach them later as well.
Sì, va bene. Rispondi tu? Vai. If I have understand your question, you mean after 2008, if something has changed or if Frontex has done something. I think the situation, like I said, hasn't changed because now even more worse because there is no an interlocutor. How do you say? Interlocutore. Yeah, on the side of the Libya, so there is no connection also with the government. But there is also a plan to ratify the same agreement that has been done in the past with Gaddafi. So Italy is still working on to maintain its economic profits from Libya. So it cannot impose certain kind of obligation of respecting rights at the cost of losing many things or many profits. So it's easy to imagine that it's a difficult situation.
It's very difficult to answer to the question in few words, because it's really a topic which is changing somehow, going on somehow. It's in the middle of the development, this story, no? It's not a past story, and it's still a present, and we don't know exactly which will be the future, so we are really in the middle. And what I can try to explain to you is that the attention in the European public opinion, and therefore also in the politics of Frontex or other European offices or national countries, is always on how we can avoid them to come. No? Is always on how. As the Italian foreign minister Franco Frattini told in the film, they are very much concentrated on the percentage of migrants coming illegally on one border or on the other. No? We can stop 30% of them, 35% of them, 40% of them. But what is happening out of the border in order to stop them to come? It's really difficult to make the public opinion interested about that. But through our work, we are trying to do exactly that. That is a general point of view. Of course, then we can go inside. Every single border has its story. Frontex worked a lot on the border between Greece and Turkey, and now they are moving to this border. But another very important border was the Morocco and Spain, but also the Eastern European border is very much important. Then we should speak about what Frontex really does, because it doesn't do so much, because it's an agency created to coordinate the different national policies, police, but they don't have so much power as they would like to have, or as the politicians say that they have, but actually they don't have it. So it's really a mess. It's complicated, but that is the general point of view is the one I try to explain. Right.
I think the first thing, it's a difficult question, because I'm not a policymaker. I can propose. I think that the immigration you cannot block in this manner. The first thing I think it should be done is to, in the meantime, to make an agreement that looks forward for the respect of human rights in those places that the EU wants to operate, no? And there are questions about refugees and migrants, which are called economic migrants, those who want to go to work. So I don't think that it will be possible eliminating one's frontier, but I think that many things can be done if they look forward to the respect of human rights in those places. And the agreements should be also in respect of the human rights in those places, because many of the states that are financed by the EU were states under dictatorship. So it's giving more power to a dictator is another fact that the people of that country still, how do you call it? Ingrassare. Building, making fat a dictator. So there are many. It's a difficult question, but I suggest if somebody hears that they should respect human rights because the migration will not be stopped, not now and not in the future.
If I can add only one thing on this topic. I'm deeply convinced that the only solution is to open the border, but I understand that it's very difficult to obtain that as first step. So we have to find, as I'm trying to answer as an activist and not as a director. But so we have to find other steps in order to reach that one, which actually the history reaches every time that you have really the wish to solve the problem. I'm speaking, for instance, of other borders who were very closed. For example, the border between Albania and Albany. How do you say it? Albania? Albany is okay. Sorry, Albania and Italy was deeply closed and was really a problem. Nowadays, an Albanian citizen can reach Italy without a visa and no problem. And we don't speak anymore about that. For instance. Other steps are important. One of the important steps we are trying to ask, but it's really difficult, of course, but that is to have a focus, to have a goal, is to open humanitarian channels for asylum seekers coming from Ethiopia, Eritrea, or other countries in situation of dictatorship, of humanitarian crisis, in order to give to the refugees coming from those countries the rights to the opportunities, the possibility and the rights to ask asylum before taking the boat or crossing the desert. So there is no way to ask to a European embassy in Addis Ababa or in Mogadishu or in Tripoli even to ask the humanitarian protection to an European countries and to have a normal and safe journey to a European country. The only way to reach Europe is that way. Of course, for the 99% of the people, then you have a minority who can travel very easily and without any problem. But for the majority of the people, the only way is that one. And so we should give to them another way, because it's really incredible that to reach a humanitarian protection, which is obtained from the ones who arrived, you have only this way as an opportunity, as a possibility. And so that is one small step, but it's not enough. But that could be something.
I don't know how to say it in English, but in case I became per accident, I became a filmmaker because I didn't arrive at Lampedusa to do film. But when I was at Rome, I met Andrea and some groups of Italians that has proposed me to do some course on filmmaking. It was a little course, but I found that instrument effective, because once I didn't speak, I used not speaking in Italian, so I found it as an important instrument to reach to the public. But I discovered later that even if after making, screening the film, you have to speak anyway. So just like this time, no. So you have to be ready. This is, I think, before the passion for the cinema, there was the exigence of doing and telling something. That came first before the cinema. And now I continued to do films because I found something that interests me, that made me stay still in Italy, apart, of course, my family.
Of course. So the interest is not to. So the interest is to not to stop the process as it is now. So and not to give to human being the right to travel legally, because if you travel legally, then you have a lot of rights, and that is a problem. If you travel illegally, you are without rights, and you can be used in several markets and several business. And that is a long story of humanity, and it's not only an Italian-Libyan story. And of course, the mechanism of the capitalistic system is connected with that. But also other economic system works on this way. In Italy, all the agriculture in southern region is completely on the hands of immigrants, and part of them, not all of them, are illegal, and that helps a lot the economy of the southern Italy agriculture in the way you explained. What do you? It's not completely the same, because you are not in jail. You are in a center of asylum seekers, but you can also not stay in that center and waiting for the answer. The problem is that the time you have to wait for the answer, you can't work, so you don't have any right. So you don't have any way to survive officially, but you can work in the black market, of course. Or you can stay in a center for asylum seekers, and there you get something to eat and a place to sleep, nothing else. And our places are really bad places where your identity, your individuality is not respected at all. And you feel like a jail, but you have the freedom to move out. Then we have the jail for identification and expulsion of illegal migrants. So if you don't have the right to stay in Italy, but you are not an asylum seeker, so you don't make the request for asylum, you are detained in this identification center, and that is completely a jail. But it's not called as a jail. It's called as a center for migrants, and you have to wait for the decision if you are expulsed or not. Yeah, you could stay also until 18 months, but it doesn't happen so often. So it takes shorter time.
Let's go. Buona visione. Buona visione.
Dov'è che vai? Può venire giù un attimo? Ok, vieni pure anche tu. Hello, we are trying again to rebooting, in fact, the program. We just had a program, we just screened Like a Man on Earth, and we're continuing with our program. The event is called Mediterranean Passages, Filming Migration and Human Rights. I'm Clarissa Cloy. I am the director of the Italian program here on campus. I'd like to thank the student organizations that have helped us with getting this wonderful space, the Department of European Studies, the College of Arts and Letters, and of course, you guys for being here. I know you have to, most of you, but in any case. And of course, our guests. Because I think this is a very, very important program that speaks to not just the Mediterranean, not just the US-Mexico border, but it speaks of global dynamics that are going on right now. Okay, so I just would like to introduce you the next two filmmakers that for the next film. The next film is called Closed Sea, Mare Chiuso. So of course it speaks for itself. It's a very recent film which continues discussing precisely the issues we've been screening prior. Author, filmmaker Andrea Segre is here, who did the film, and also with us is Stefano Liberti, is a journalist and collaborated with Andrea, as well as with Doug. Those of you who saw the previous film, he was in Poland with Doug asking questions about Frontex in the desert. I'm going to ask you guys if you want to say a few words before the film, and then we're going to screen the film. And then basically when the film is done, you know, like we are staying in the theater infinitely, as long as we have the theater for a few hours after this screening. So of course I realize you will want to leave and go somewhere else if you have to. For those who want to stay, please stay. We'll continue this debate, okay? There you go.
Yeah, thank you, Clarissa, for inviting us here. Thank you to all you guys. I think it's very important we are pleased to screen this movie here in San Diego, because it's also a border town. So it's a global topic, and I think it will be a useful discussion after the movie. Well, I just want to say a few words before the movie, is that the movie we made together in 2012, Close Sea, is just a follow-up of the movie Like a Man of Earth, some of you guys have just seen. And so that is basically what I want to say. And enjoy. And then we will be here to discuss with you guys after the screening. Thank you.
So I just want to say, we realize that your class finishes at 3:15. Some classes may finish even earlier for you. Just very quietly exit, don't worry, but please be quiet as you go in and out. Thank you.